Well, I'll just give a general thank you to everyone so we can dive right in. Oh, sorry. Do I have 4 minutes? 5. Well, I guess we should address the criteria. I think I did originally state in my PMC that the criteria was democratic process and that I would elaborate in that. And I elaborated in my advantages when I stated that basically it would encourage more people to participate and to vote because it would feel more informed. They would have a new forum to speak. To become educated. So I don't understand why now in the LOR they're arguing that this is abuse and that they didn't have the opportunity when they could have clarified in any of their earlier speeches or during POIs. So the claim of abuse just seems to be out of nowhere. I also talked in my background. They made a big issue, let's see here. They made a big issue about funding, but as I asked during one of my POIs, is that there is no funding need here. That's why it's simply normal means, because we're not asking for some new agency to be created or somebody to enforce it, simply to change the wording of the law that currently exists so that churches will remain a nonprofit status, they will remain exempt, but simply the clergy will be able to speak at the pulpit in endorsing a political candidate. And that's not going to cost anyone anything. So this is like a false need that we somehow come short because we didn't define funding. And really, I don't see a need for funding to begin with. As far as our advantages, I think they're all solid. Basically, the ban currently infringes on an individual clergy person's First Amendment rights because they chose the profession of clergy member.
Point of order. Back to the the mandate. They said that the original plan was that the IRS should repeal the ban and pass a new law. Now they said that all they're doing now is rephrasing the law. That's a new argument.
Yeah, well, that's not new, actually. Basically, the IRS, churches have always been tax exempt. Basically, to clarify, our Constitution was built on the idea of religious freedom, that we came from countries in all over the parts of the world where religions were persecuted. But in 1954, the ban that he's talking about allowed churches to remain tax-free, but gagged them. Said, if you want to stay tax-free, you can't speak at the pulpit. You cannot endorse anybody. So that's what we're talking about when we say repeal that. So the tax exemption is going to stay status quo. They've always been tax-exempt, and we will stay tax-exempt under our plan.
No, that I agree. But what I'm saying is that the new argument that they're making is that it's not going to cost anything because we're just rephrasing the law. But the original plan was pass a new law, which will repeal the ban and so forth. So that's the new argument.
We don't call for a new plan, and I gave him the opportunity to state what his need for funding was when he was speaking. And he didn't give any solid, other than, oh, everything new costs money. That was his argument. Okay, so advantage number 1 is that basically the clergy, because they chose the clergy as their profession, have been silenced. They no longer can speak in public, and certainly not at the pulpit about who they endorse. So this does reinstate First Amendment to the clergy members who do have a right to say who they feel they support based on their own views. And because they minister to a congregation who looks to them for guidance on much greater and significant things than the basic legislation that passes in this country, their opinion is relevant. But that doesn't mean that the congregation is a bunch of mindless fools who can't get information elsewhere. But that simple opinion they have value. Advantage number 2 is that churchgoers will feel, as I stated before, that this is a more modern entity, that this is now a place for open dialogue about social issues. And I wanted to reiterate here where I had mentioned in my background that because political candidates legislate on issues that cross into religious realms like abortion or assisted suicide, you can't neatly and cleanly separate the two. They want to tell you that the church and the state basically should be separate, but we're arguing that they can never be, because the legislators are always going to be legislating on things that involve religious points of view. Advantage number 3 is that, again, as people feel more informed about a particular issue and which candidate supports or doesn't support their point of view, they're going to feel that they can now participate in the democratic process, that we're going to be more likely to vote because now they feel that they're more aware of the issues. And secondly, Advantage number 4 is that candidates will have to listen to this demographic. Now, I'm not suggesting that the demographic has completely been ignored, but certainly this will empower them more so, and that's maybe what I didn't clarify enough earlier. And I think when they were speaking about their disadvantages, they claimed that they made a big issue about donations and stating that churches will campaign for candidates. I think that that's some sort of pretty slope argument that they're making, but our plan doesn't call for churches to actively campaign or provide campaign finance to anyone. So that's really not unique to our plan. If you enact our plan, it doesn't cause that. You know, that's something that they're trying to attach to it. So basically, our voters, for you to vote on, is that we feel that we provided a better criteria, and one that's actually a little tougher to meet, basically, because you have to run everything through the advancement of the democratic process. So in a sense, that's net beneficial, but this is a little bit more specific because our advantages give you a clear advantages towards the increase of the democratic process. I've given you 4 advantages to vote for the government, and I don't believe, as the opposition has tried to suggest, that there is a cost involved here in allowing the clergy to speak at the pulpit. So I think that for the reasons we've given you, we've earned your vote today. Thank you.
Now, but a couple of things just on the point of order. The argument about the use was new, so that actually wasn't one that came out.
Excuse me, sir. What'd you say?
The argument about abuse, about it being abuse of their criteria, was new. It didn't come up any other time except in the fall, so that was the argument. And the question about the funding, that didn't come up earlier. They had said there would be normal means. And there was a question of vagueness, but not specifically of funding, like how is the funding. That was never specifically asked until. So both
the
sides.
Enforcer, they said normal means. The enforcer will be normal means. Am I correct?
No, I don't. Agent of action will be IRS, and then there's.
And the enforcer will be normal means, and then there is no funding. That's what I have in my code.
No, funding is just by normal means.
That wasn't mentioned.
But I mean, ultimately, you have to decide, is there a cost that didn't get met? I mean, ultimately, that would be your judgment, I suppose.
Printing cost to the neighbor.
But I
All right, no problem.
On your, good job. It was a great.
Thank you very much for the feedback.
Thank you.
Oh, on this side, who was the Wesley or?
Claudia.